Here we go. What is going on? Cover One crew. Chris Chow's back again. Hope everybody's doing great. I'm great. As per usual, you can't get me down. I'm a happy dude. But hey, nevertheless, before we get started, smash that like button for me. Do me that favor. Let's get up to like 25, 50 likes. Just keep hitting the like button. I'm telling you, help me out, man. It's good stuff. Helps grow the channel as well. Drop in the comments any start-sit questions. I will get back to y'all if you're struggling with some opportunities you don't know how to handle. But nevertheless, what are we here for? It is week number 11. Start-sit lineup advice. Fantasy football. You got to love it. Keep saying it, man. Fantasy football playoffs. We're only 4 weeks away from the playoffs, and it's going to be tight. So I got a lot to tell y'all, a lot to cover. So let's dive in. So before we get started, if you're a betting man or woman out there, I'm telling y'all, you guys got to get on BetUS. If you sign up using the promo code COVER1, it's 125% bonus, sign-up bonus, up to $2,500. You guys don't want to miss out. Use my picks. I'm on Twitter, dropping the game day picks all the time. Saturday is usually when I drop them. I am 81-69 on the season, 29 victories in the last 3 weeks. I'm absolutely killing it. You guys got to go get that money. I'm telling you, I'm here to help you guys get some money in those pockets. But what do you say? Week number 11 starts it as per usual. On the bye week, we got those Jacksonville Jaguars, Duval, Miami Dolphins, Squish the Fish, Seattle Seahawks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all on the bye week this week. So we'll have some troubles for some of you guys that have those players on those respective teams. But let's go with these Arizona Cardinals. I thought, man, it was going to be dreadful without Kyler Murray. And Colt McCoy, man, he starts looking pretty good. He can still play some ball. But again, Kyler Murray is, game time decision with that hamstring questionable tag. I'm still listing him here because we'll see. I mean, if not, then Colt McCoy will get the start. And you're obviously not going to be starting Colt McCoy because there are better options this week at the quarterback position. So Kyler is definitely a risk. You got to watch the pregame warm-up just to see. James Conner, he's basically the guy now. They dropped Benjamin, put him on the waivers. He is now part of the Houston Texans, if you can believe it. I don't understand. But James Conner gets a mid-level risk on Monday Night Football versus the San Francisco 49ers. And then Keontae Ingram is going to be the backup at this point. High-level risk. Can't trust it till we see it at this point. DeAndre Hopkins, he did pop up on the injury report with a hamstring as well. But apparently the coaching staff is saying it was a vet rest day, so he should be good to go on Monday Night Football. Fire up a D-Hop, no kidding. Mid-level risk for James Conner. I think I skipped over that. I mean, I think it's a tough sell for me to say to start him because the 49ers defense is that good, especially with Colt McCoy potentially starting. You won't know until late Saturday. So, I mean, it's tough to say if you're going to play a James Conner. I'm going to put mid-level on there. If you have no better options, do it up that way. Rondale Moore's been, creeping up the board. Mid-level risk. I think he could be trusted at this point for your flex spot. And I think it's an okay play. He's getting the target share. Even with Colt McCoy, it looked even better than Kyler Murray, if you can believe it. Robbie Anderson's a bench at this point. And Trey McBride, I mean, because Zach Ertz is done. He's on the IR with a season-ending knee injury. Trey McBride, the rookie, he's got some sleeper upside. This kid can ball. Watch out, man. He's got wheels. He's got athletic ability. He could definitely turn some heads real quick in fantasy football. The Atlanta Falcons taking on the Chicago Bears. The Bears. Marcus Mariota's seen better days. I've been supportive, Marcus, and you're not repaying me. The last couple weeks have just looked horrendous for Marcus. He cannot hit his wide receivers. The rushing upside has gone down. I mean, the Kyle Pitts thing, if you watch the last episode I put out on the boomer bust on Kyle Pitts on Thursday night, the evaluation was right. He got the 9 targets. He just couldn't get the ball. Marcus could not find him. So I got Marcus down my board a little bit, mid-level risk, even though he is a decent quarterback, especially against the Chicago Bears defense that is, susceptible to giving up some plays. So I got mid-level on him. If you're stuck for a quarterback, he's not the worst you can get, but I would look in other options. Cordero Patterson needs to bounce back from the terrible contest that we entrusted in him last week. The Bears' rush defense is not overly abundant in greatness, so I mean, I'm firing up a Cordero obviously everywhere you got him. Tyler Algier, he's one that's got some TD upside. So, I mean, again, if you're hurting for running backs, I get it. But other than that, I would look elsewhere. Drake London as well, mid-level risk. Yes, he found the end zone, but it's been so inconsistent. I don't know how you could trust it. I guess, you're going up against the Chicago Bears defense, like I said, that can give up a lot of plays. Drake London likely the better option at this point, even over a Kyle Pitts. So it's a difficult trust. That's the thing. A mid-level risk, play at your own, caution. I'm cautiously optimistic is what I got to say about a Drake London at this point. Zacchaeus, high-level risk. I love this guy, but I just can't trust it. PPR upside does reside in this man, but it's just not enough in fantasy football. Kyle mother effing Pitts. What do we do? I got out from under it. I traded his services. What could I say? I jumped ship. I couldn't do it anymore. After watching that contest on Thursday Night Football where it just 9 targets, just could not get the ball to him, it was time. I had to cut bait. Low floor for a Kyle Pitts. He's at any point by himself. He can score touchdowns. He can make big plays. Marcus just can't get him the ball. And if we see a stumble, perhaps it is Desmond Ridder time in Atlanta, but we will see. So Kyle Pitts, low floor. I mean, I don't like it. I mean, it's the Bears. You got to think he might do it. It's just so boom or bust, but you drafted him where you drafted him, so you're likely going to play him. Just hope that he hits that end zone this week. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Carolina Panthers. This one should be a very good show, especially with the Ravens coming off the bye week, getting a little bit rested. Lamar Jackson is dealing with an illness. He's sick right now. Coach Harbaugh said he's good to go. He's a stud start for me against his Panthers team that is packing it in for the season. Kenyon Drake likely getting the start once again because Gus Edwards still dealing with that hammy. And I mean, if Gus does come back, you still got to think they're going to lean on Kenyon a little bit more. He had a great game before they went in the bye. Low-level risk play for Kenyon Drake for me. I'm firing him up if you have him. The matchup is very good, but watch out for Gus. If he does play in this contest, he will take some volume away to drop that to a mid-level risk. Devin Duvernay has been falling down my board. I've been also supportive of you, Duve. Come on, man. He's just not getting open. He's just not getting the ball. Being the number one guy without a Bateman, there's no one pulling coverage from him. He's facing the top coverage. It's very difficult for him. He's a good to great complimentary wide receiver. I just don't know if he can, deal with DB1s on the weekly. So it's a very difficult play. Mid-level risk for Duvernay. Robinson's got a low floor, but he could actually provide potentially if Mark Andrews is not going to play again. Hearing rumors, it's a game-time decision for a Mark Andrews, so watch out for that. He did draw the questionable on the shoulder. Maybe he does play. They're coming off the bye. He might have got some rest. So if Andrews plays, then Demarcus Robinson's an absolute bench. But if Andrews doesn't play, then likely we'll see an uptick in target share in that respect. But Lamar stud start, no question. Off the bye week should do wonders for your fantasy team. The Buffalo Bills Mafia going up against Cleveland. Should have been in Buffalo, but there's like 1,000 feet of snow in Buffalo right now. And who knows, man, this game could be canceled by the time all things are said and done because the snow is so bad you can't even get the snow plows through the road. So we'll see if they get to the airport to fly to Detroit is where this game's going to be held. But Josh Allen, we'll go on what we know today. And what we know today is the game's going to be played in Detroit. So Josh Allen, very much a low-risk play this week to stud start because it's Josh Allen. The arm, the injury to the elbow obviously was no worse for wear in this past contest. The loss to Minnesota, but at least he came, he looked good. He looked like he was himself except for throwing those interceptions. That's why I'm not shaving, man. I've made a vow. I'm not going to shave until Josh Allen goes a game without throwing a interception. At this point, I might not be shaving until February, but hopefully not, man. I swear to God, I want to shave. Let me shave my beard, Josh Allen. Good Lord. Devin Singletary, mid-level risk. I mean, he's going to be able to find room. He's been looking good. It's just the commitment to the run game, especially in the second half, has not been there. I don't understand why Ken Dorsey just completely abandons the run in the second half these past 3 contests. Not cool. Start, at least be a little bit more balanced, man. Right now, it feels like it's 80-20 pass to run. Let's go like 70-30, and we'll be happy, Buffalo Bills fans. But Devin Singletary gets a decent mid-level as well. Nyheim Hines, James Cook, high-level risks. You're not playing them until their utilization starts to increase. Stephon Diggs, low-level risk. If they're playing in the dome, you know that Stephon Diggs is going to play very well. Very good upside for Gabe Davis as well versus a defensive secondary that is banged up a little bit, but they will have the pressure coming on Josh Allen with that front seven that Cleveland does possess, and Myles Garrett's going to be feasting for blood, so it's going to be tough. That's why I'm thinking maybe a couple deep shots to Gabe Davis. It's going to be a very good upside day for him. Isaiah McKenzie continues the high-risk play. You can't really do it at this point. Similarly with Dawson Knox, he's become so TD dependent that it's very, very difficult to trust this man. The Bills themselves, they got a lot of problems on the offensive side of the ball right now, and they got to clean it up, figure it out. They need 2 games. They got Cleveland, they got Detroit next week, the week after that on Thanksgiving. So they need a get-right game, couple get-right games in a big way. Get right versus the Cleveland Browns and have a tune-up versus the Detroit Lions is what I want to see, but Josh Allen should still put you up very, very solid fantasy numbers. The Carolina Panthers, going up against those Baltimore Ravens. And the Bake Show is back, man. We'll see. I mean, P.J. Walker, he's on the bench now. He's out of this contest with an injury, if I'm not mistaken. And Baker, he's going to try to, at least show what he could do. He was taking notes last week, so let's see if the study's going to come through. I don't like it versus Baltimore Ravens defense. I'm telling you that. In Baltimore, high-level risk for Baker. I'm not touching this whatsoever, but I am starting a Deonta Foreman low-level risk play. He's just looking like Achilles. Who needs an Achilles tendon? Apparently, they put something in there. I don't know what they shot up in there, but he's looking like he's fresh, he's young, he's fast, he's strong, he's quick. You're firing him up everywhere you got him, as is DJ Moore. I got to believe, this one's a tough one because we had seen the lack of target share come to, a DJ Moore when Baker Mayfield was the starting quarterback here. PJ was the one that kind of brought it out in this offense. So I put a mid-level on a DJ Moore. There's going to be a lot of boomer bust potential here. Can Baker continuously feed this man against a Baltimore Ravens defense that has been susceptible to giving up plays as well to wide receivers? I just got to be cautious here. Mid-level risk for a DJ Moore. I don't really care for it. If you have better options, look for those options. Laviska Shenault's going to continue the boomer bust prospect. You're probably not, playing him this week. I mean, because it's just too inconsistent for you to trust. Terrace Marshall is, though, driving up my board with a mid-level risk. He's starting to look a little bit better. I just want to see a few more games of consistency before I can even sing that any more good graces before that. And Tommy Tremble, the tight end, you're sitting him as well. So sit all the wide receivers except for potential of DJ Moore if you have no better options. The Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons in the Atlanta. Justin Fields apparently was a massive Falcons fan growing up, so this is good news, man. He's going to want to stick it to this team, man. Stud start once again. Back-to-back weeks, 40-plus points for Justin Fields. He's running all over the field. He cannot be stopped. He's starting to throw dimes down the field as well to Darnell Mooney, who also gets a low-level risk play for me. Start up Darnell Mooney. Fire up Justin Fields. Don't look back. David Montgomery is a low-risk play once again because Khalil Herbert is out. He's on the IR with a hip injury. We can now trust Monty once again, at least in volume capability. Will he be able to, execute with high efficiency? To be seen. But David Montgomery is a good running back. It's just Khalil Herbert was out playing him. And then Tristan Ebner is your backup now. It's a high-level risk until we see the usage. But he reminds me of a bigger, Tariq Cohen type, not as explosive, but he's got that ability to be a difference maker in the pass game. I am a big fan of Tristan Ebner, and I do believe he's going to do something at least in this contest to showcase what he can do in support. Pittis is a high-level risk, as is Chase Claypool. Look in other directions. I will not start these men. They got to be on the bench this week. Cole Kmet, though, he is back in the good books. He's starting to pick up, where we thought he should. Almost 70 points right now, mid-level risk. 2 boom games for this man. I like a Cole Kmet this week as well versus the Atlanta Falcons, who do like to give up a lot of points to the tight end position, man. The Cincinnati Bengals coming off the bye week at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Burrow, man, stud start again. Coming off the bye, you got to love it. You were going to hope that Jamar Chase would be back for this contest here, and he still has not practiced since the hip injury, so it's to be seen. Maybe another 2 weeks likely out before we see Chase come back, but they didn't need it before they went in the bye because Joey Mixon was just killing it. 5 touchdowns. He's a low-level risk play against these Steelers. The defense, even though TJ Watt is back, that is something to definitely see, and the Bengals don't necessarily travel too well, so this is going to be something to watch. Can they overcome their inadequacy on the road is something I'm definitely going to be watching a lot. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd definitely can fire these two individuals up because they're just eating all over the field, almost 100 points per piece, per man. You got to love that. Hayden Hurst, mid-level risk for me. I like him without a chase because the target share has to get spread around a lot, and Hayden Hurst has been very good in this offense as the tight end one. The Cleveland Browns, like I said, taking on the Buffalo Bills Mafia in Detroit. Jacoby Brissett, he is a mid-level risk. Can you believe this man's got 7 boom games? And it's not sexy, and I get it, man. It's not like he's putting up 25 points per week, but the threshold for boom is 15 points for quarterbacks, and he's done it 7 times this season in 9 games, if you can believe it. He's done the job. I mean, what can you say? He's done very decently, I guess. Not very well, but he's done good, and you can't hate it. Jacoby's going to move the ball down the field, but he will struggle against the Bills' defense, especially with Jordan Poyer back. It should be a big uplift, even though they lost Tremaine Edmonds, so there will be room for Nicholas Chubb. This pains me to say, stud start for Nick Chubb against the Buffalo Bills without Edmonds on the field. It's going to be a tough show, man. We saw what Dalvin Cook was able to do. That 81-yard scamper changed the game, and Nick Chubb is a beast in his own right, so he's going to be able to find holes and run over this Bills defense quite a bit, I do want to say. So I got to put a stud start. It's definitely going to be at least 85 to 100 yards and a touchdown for Nick Chubb this week. Kareem Hunt gets a mid-level risk, even though he has been performing, rather poorly these last 4 weeks. I don't like it. Haven't been playing him. He's on my bench this entire time. I got many shares of a Kareem Hunt. You cannot trust it. But this week, you got to believe they're going to try to utilize the PPR game from the running back position. Give Amari Cooper a little bit more support, even though Donovan Peoples-Jones is starting to do it. So I'm going to say bench Kareem Hunt this week as well, even though there is a little bit of upside. It's just too volatile for me to trust. Amari Cooper does get a low-level risk play. Still no Trey White, but Elam looks like he's ready to suit up. So low-level risk. I mean, he's a wide receiver one target. You're going to see the target share come his way. And then Donovan Peoples-Jones gets a mid-level risk because he is starting to pick up his game as well. And Jacoby Brissett is making the chemistry work. David Njoku is an injury risk this week, even though he is questionable with the ankle. Likely to play. They said more on the side of playing than not. It's still an injury risk. You never know how that ankle can turn out. I mean, he could roll it, and then he's out for the rest of the game. You got to watch out for David Njoku. I will wait one more week before I fire that man up. The Dallas Cowboys going up against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Dak Prescott and company, they got, their butts handed to them in that second half versus Green Bay last week. Come out with the L. They need a bounce back, and against the Minnesota Vikings team that does look very strong, put together very well as a unit. And Dak Prescott, I'm still giving him the low-level risk play this week. He's got 2 boom games since coming back from his injury. He looks good, and Ezekiel Elliott is an injury risk once again. Keep Zeke on the bench because Tony Pollard is doing damage. I think even if Zeke does play, I'm too skittish. I got to see how that knee responds. Tony Pollard, low-level risk for me, as is CeeDee Lamb. You're firing up both these individuals. CeeDee Lamb's coming off a wide receiver 1 showing last week in week number 10. He was just a dynamo. Noah Brown, high-level risk. You're not playing him. Michael Gallup, low floor. You're not playing him. The target share needs to be there. It was there, but, Gallup's just not turning it out. Low-level risk play back for Dalton Schultz, my guy, man. He, comes back from the injury, and this is what everybody suspected he was going to be, finding the end zone, being Dak's safety blanket, and that's exactly what we got in the last contest. Should again happen versus these Minnesota Vikings. Dalton Schultz is very safe this week once again. The Denver Broncos taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Raiders just lost to Jeff Saturday in his first coaching show. Everything's in disarray. You got Derek Carr. I was going to say Derek crying, but he was crying. You feel bad for him. But Russell Wilson, man, let's ride. Let's see what they can do. Low-level risk. First time, I think, maybe twice I've given them a low-level risk play. It's because the Vegas Raiders defense just can't stop many people these days. The team is truly in disarray. Not many people are ready to play for this club, and I don't know what it is. Is it the coaching? Is it McDaniels? He can't, get the group together? I don't know. But Russell Wilson should be able to do this coming off the bye week as well. You got to think they're going to be able to, at least spread the ball around quite a bit. Melvin Gordon, mid-level risk. Latavius Murray still with a goal line upside. Chase Edmonds with a high-level risk. They're not coming off the bye. They're coming off a loss. Denver is versus the Tennessee Titans. But, still, the amount of touches coming from this backfield is very hard to trust and determine because they got 3 guys that were utilized as RB1s at one point. So, I think they're going to continue this mix and match. Very hard to trust. Again, if you have better options, you're moving on. If I have to say anybody, I want to go for sheer upside. Perhaps it's Latavius Murray because he's going to get goal line touches in this contest as well. I would probably go Latavius for goal line upside if I'm really, really hampered at the running back position. Low-level risk for Cortland Sutton this week, even though he has, pooped the bed. It looks like doo-doo out there. He just looks at poo. It looks terrible. What can you say, man? Jerry Jeudy is out of this contest with that ankle injury, so all the targets are going to go to Cortland Sutton and Greg Dulcich. No kidding. So low-level risk for a Sutton. I do believe just based on volume and target share, you can fire a Sutton up with some level of, okayness inside the belly. I don't know, for lack of a better term. Kendall Hinton is your back or your secondary wide receiver. He does have an injury risk as well. He should be playing, but again, you can't trust that. Greg Dulcich gets back down to mid-level risk because, Tennessee just took away everything in the pass game. Denver does not look good offensively. defensively. It's very difficult. But if the Broncos wanted to, turn something around, this is the game to do it versus the broken Las Vegas Raiders, man. The Detroit Lions going taking their talents, lack thereof, to the Detroit Lions going to the New York Giants. It's a tongue twister. I don't know. Maybe I need some more coffee at this point, but I don't know. Jared Goff, mid-level risk, 7-2 New York Giants. Mid-level risk. They're playing great defense right now. They're running the ball extremely well, and they're not turning it over with Daniel Jones. Formula to winning, man. That's what it is in the NFL. You can do it in many ways, and the Giants are doing that. Detroit does not look good, even though they're fighting, they're battling. They look decent from time to time, and then they fade. Jared Goff, mid-level risk for me. I'm not trusting it anymore. I've kind of fallen off the bandwagon. He's giving you like 10 to 13 points per week right now. Just not good enough, especially against a Giants defense that is very good. DeAndre Swift still saying that he's dealing with some injury troubles, but he's going to be out there this week again, not on the injury list. Maybe he's just, his body just broke down a little bit. He's going to likely get opportunities in the red zone again to score those touchdowns. I'm still playing DeAndre Swift. I drafted him high, second round. You're going to have to play him because, that capital is going to return you value, and I think against the Giants, they're going to utilize DeAndre Swift, as is Jamal Williams. Mid-level risk. He is your goal line rusher. 124 points for this man. When they're inside the 5-yard line, Jamal is like automatic this season. You're definitely firing him up as well. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, low-level risk. He's getting the PPR upside. Fire up Amon-Ra. They're going to have to, even if this game gets a little bit out of hand, they're going to have to throw the ball, and Amon-Ra is going to be your primary guy. Injury risk does go to Josh Reynolds. He's likely going to suit up this contest. He did have 4 boom games before he went down. He does have a lot of chemistry with a Jared Goff, so I think that's half the problem, is that there's just not enough weapons in the pass game to utilize for Goff, and they traded away TJ Hawkinson. What do you expect him to do? So Brock Wright, he did find the end zone, the tight end. He is the replacement for a TJ Hawkinson. Still high-level risk. You're not trusting that until we see a little bit more. But Josh Reynolds as well, you just got to watch out for that. It's definitely not starting Reynolds, but I want to see him come back and make some plays. The Houston Texans taking on the Washington Commanders, the Commies, beating those Philadelphia Eagles last on Monday Night Football. That was pretty impressive. But Davis Mills is going to have his hands full with a front seven that can rush the passer quite well. Jalen Hurts definitely found out on Monday what that pass rush can do. But, mid-level risk, he's going to give you potentially anywhere the range 10 to 17, 10 to 18, depending on how this pass game goes. But, Damian Pierce, he's doing very well this year. He's just not finding the end zone. If he was able to find the end zone with high frequency, this number would be a lot larger than 122.8 points. But you're definitely firing up Pierce as well. They're going to lean on the ground game as they have all season long. 7 boom games for this rookie. Out of what? Out of 9, 7, 8, 9, you can't hate that, man. Pierce is doing very well. Rex Burkhead, no, move right along. Brandon Cooks, I'm at the point you can say you can bench him until we see better. He's just disgruntled, man. Mid-level risk for me. I am not playing him. Nico Collins, he's got a mid-level. He's got some red zone appeal. So again, if you're stuck for wide receivers, there is potential he's going to score, or there's potential he's going to put up a goose egg, as is Chris Moore. So this offense still very hard to trust in Houston. Pierce is likely the only guy you can really fire up and have the warm and fuzzies in that belly, man. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Philadelphia Eagles, coming off the loss, like I said, on Monday Night Football, those Eagles. Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, looking like the Matty Ice vintage edition, limited edition. I don't know what else to say. Matt Ryan, he took a week off, 2 weeks off, and he's like, yeah, I'm back. I'm chilling. I'm good. He looked good. What can you say? He was feeding his players. Jonathan Taylor's back in the mix. So the whole, MO for Indianapolis and Matt Ryan this year was give Matt Ryan protection, run the ball completely with Jonathan Taylor and move the chains, and then that leaves everything open for Matt Ryan in the play action pass. That's what we saw from Jeff Saturday. So kudos to Mr. Saturday winning on Sundays. Matt Ryan, mid-level risk versus the Eagles. I don't like it. He's going to come back down to earth. It's the Eagles defense. They're going to lick their wounds, lick their chops, and they're going to be back to A game. You know that. But Jonathan Taylor, definite low-level risk play for me. This Eagles defense, yes, they signed Ndamukong Suh. They got Laval from the Chargers. They waived him. So, they beefed up that defensive front again. They do got some injuries on that defensive line. But Jonathan Taylor's going to be able to run through this line. It's JT, man. He's going to find holes to gash through. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a tough day for him, but I could definitely see 15 to 20 touches plus for a Jonathan Taylor going 80 and a touchdown score, I want to believe. Deion Jackson is back from that knee injury, but high level risk. I think JT's going to still be the workhorse back. Michael Pittman, he's been disappointing me these last few weeks. Only 3 boom games, and those came at the beginning. Yes, Sam Ellinger had a big deal with that, not being able to feed him, but Pittman has been dropping the ball more this season than he has so far in his NFL tenure. Mid-level risk for a Pittman. High-level risk for an Alec Pierce because he's just not getting involved. And you know who's getting the touches? My guy, Paris Campbell. He's back on the radar. You can now trust, in my opinion, a Paris Campbell in your flex spot. He's just too good. What did I say, man? The speed, the wheels, the strength, the catching ability. Paris is a very good wide receiver. Just injuries caught up to him. He just could never stay healthy, and you can trust him right now. Mo Alley Cox is just Mo Cox, Mo problems, and I love that line, so it's staying on your bench this week again. Kansas City Chiefs going up against the LA Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Patrick Mahomes, they're looking good. Let's see what they can do, man. Stud start once again for Patrick Mahomes. 241 points. He's trailing Josh Allen just by a minute, I guess. But, I mean, he's looked good. This offense does look good, but they got some injuries of their own. McCole Hardman out on the IR 4 weeks with an abdomen strain. He's got Juju Smith-Schuster out with that concussion. I mean, he was almost murdered on that field. Just a horrible hit to the head. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to find other ways to manufacture passing yards and touchdowns, and that's going to come in the form of Travis Kelce. Stud start once again. Kadarius Toney is going to be my guy this week that I'm going to promote because he looked good. He's just too dynamic, and you know Andy Reid loves the dynamic skill set and playmaking ability. Even though we know Patrick Mahomes is going to spread it to the backup tight end, he's going to spread it to Watson, the wide receiver. You know he's going to spread this ball, but your top guys are going to be Kelce and Toney. I do believe target share number 1 is going to go to those individuals. MVS might get a sprinkle here and there. Still not trusting to start it, but then it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus Isaiah Pacheco. What do we do in this situation? I think at this point, Clyde has to be a high risk, and he's on your bench. You can't start him until he shows that he's going to be utilized in this offense. Why is Andy Reid not trusting him? I don't know. Maybe he's just in the doghouse right now, but you cannot trust it whatsoever. Isaiah Pacheco is a risk. Nevertheless, mid-level risk for a Pacheco. I mean, if you have the kahunas to start him, then I get it, but it's a tough play for me. I would definitely look in another direction than playing a Pacheco this week as well. Those LA Chargers going up against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, like I said. Justin Herbert, he's looking better and better as the weeks go on. He's looking like he's getting more healthier, and he's got some troops coming back. They got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both expected to play in this contest. So it's been a long layoff for a Keenan Allen, short layoff for a Mike Williams. I'm surprised Mike is actually back this quickly, but low-level risk for a Herbert. Austin Eckler, obviously low-level risk. You're starting him up every single week. Keenan Allen, if he's playing, I think you got to fire him up. He's been just eating up space on your bench this entire season. What the hell you been holding him for if you're not going to play him when he's healthy? Fire up Keenan Allen. Fire up a Josh Palmer. I'm a little concerned with a Mike Williams. I think he's going to be on a pitch count just to see how that ankle goes. So I do believe it's Allen and Palmer in this contest. Gerald Everett coming off the groin. He was not listed on the injury report, so you got to believe he's going to play. This one does scare me just a tad. He missed the second half last week to that groin. Really did cripple you after he started very well early on, 4 points, and then he was out of the contest. Kind of sucked, but I mean, against the Chiefs, you know the Chargers are going to have to throw the ball a lot, so I got to say Gerald Everett is a start if healthy. The LA Rams, the broken LA Rams, now without Cooper Kupp, going up against the New Orleans Saints in the Bayou. And I mean, Matthew Stafford, he's been apparently given clearance to play in this contest from the concussion. Still got him at a mid-level risk. Now without Cooper Kupp, what the hell are you going to do on this offense? Who are you going to pass the ball to? How are you going to do that when you can't even run the ball? This Rams offense completely in disarray right now. I am not trusting Matthew Stafford. Sit him. Darrell Henderson, mid-level risk. I do believe that there's opportunity for Henderson to at least run the ball extremely well in this game. There are a lot of injuries for the Saints right now on the defensive side, so there is opportunity if Matthew Stafford can move the ball decently down the field. Yes, he still has some weapons. I shouldn't say it's all over, but I mean, Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson, Ben Skoranek, and I finally got his name right. Woohoo! I mean, claps for me. Pat on the back. But, I mean, Allen Robinson, we've been waiting all season for him to do something. You know, I was very big on him, as were other analysts. But this season just has not come to fruition for him. Maybe now that he's the number one wide receiver on this offense right now without a Cooper Kupp, you got to say mid-level risk. I would like to say low-level against his defense, but I got to see it to believe it. See if Allen Robinson is going to be able to, have the 7 to 8 targets and, go over that 100 yards. It's what I've been waiting for all season long, so this is the week that it likely could happen. Van Jefferson does remain as that boomer bust, character in this offense because we will see how they utilize him because Cooper Kupp is now gone as well. Skoranek is going to have the PPR upside. Still a risk, but there is potential that he does take the slot in the short and intermediate routes like Cooper Kupp did take. Tyler Higbee is likely your biggest beneficiary without a Cooper Kupp low-level risk. I do believe the target share is going to go to him. I will fire up a Tyler Higbee with an Allen Robinson with potential flex appeal to a Van Jefferson. The Las Vegas Raiders, like I said, taking their talents to the Denver Broncos. This game could either be a score fest or extremely ugly. Derek Carr, man, I feel for you, brother. You were letting your emotions out, man. I'm not going to ever cuss you down for that. It's a tough thing, man, to lose football games when you're expected to win. I'm going to give Carr a mid-level risk. He still has, 6 boom games, but the only caveat is you got a Devontae Adams. He's questionable. Game time decision with some ab problems. So they got no weapons on this field if Adams is gone. It's Josh Jacobs. It's Mac Hollis. It's Keelan Cole. Foster Moreau. This is a backup XFL team. It's not good, man. And you know that the Denver Broncos secondary is very good. Patrick Surtain is a dog. He's one of the best defensive backs in the entire NFL. So without a Devontae Adams, I do not like the services of anybody except for Josh Jacobs because he's going to still be utilized, run the ball extremely well, potential for garbage time production in the pass game. If Devontae Adams does not play, still low-level risk for a Josh Jacobs because of PPR upside as well. Mac Hollis will get the benefit of target share as well as a Foster Moreau, but it's going to be ugly, so definitely hope that Devontae Adams does play. Otherwise, that game could get out of hand quite quickly. The Minnesota Vikings taking on those Dallas Cowboys at 8-1, and everyone's saying, are they for real? Can they continue this path? Can they do it? They beat the Bills. The Bills have been struggling, so, what else can you say? They did it. You're not going to put down a team for winning, are we? At this point. So, the Vikings, you got to take them legit. They look good. Kirk Cousins was making throws on that field in Buffalo like I hadn't seen Kirk make in years, if ever. Low-level risk, man, versus the Cowboys defense that is also susceptible to giving up big plays. They are very much a boomer-bust opportunistic unit on the defensive side. Low-level risk, I think Kirk has another very big game, as does Dalvin Cook. He's been quietly, gaining a lot of steam. 138 points for Dalvin Cook. Still keeps him in the realm of being a top 10 running back for the end of the season. I do believe this is a game where they do lean on him quite a bit as well because the Dallas defense is good. They can rush the passer. They're going to have to keep it honest. I do believe Dalvin does have a good game, as does JJ, man. This guy, what I witnessed him do against the Buffalo Bills, absolutely special. It was a special show what JJ was able to do. Once again, stud start. He's going up against Diggs. And Diggs is, you can beat him. You can cook him. He's going to take his chances on trying to pick off Kirk Cousins. And JJ's going to be off to the races. Another big game for Justin Jefferson. Adam Thielen does always have PPR upside, but I'm giving him a mid-level risk this week. I'm okay to play him in the flex usually every week unless you do have a better option. But TJ Hawkinson is getting in the way of those PPR upside. So I would say it is TJ Hawkinson over in Adam Thielen at this point because TJ does get a low-level risk from me. Adam Thielen, he's going to get his sprinkles now, but it looks like it's JJ, it's Dalvin, and it's TJ Hawkinson, and then sprinkled in is Adam Thielen, so it's not unconceivable to put him on your bench this week because you have a better option. The New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets. Mac Money Jones. It's a high risk because the Jets defense is good. What can I say? He's going to throw the ball. He's going to do decently, but is he going to get you over 15? I don't like it. I don't trust it. Ramondre, though, I do trust me some Ramondre Stevenson. Low-level risk. He's just a battering ram. He looks good. His hands are good. He's able to catch the ball. He's just a big human being, and he's going to get another very big game. 7 boom games for a Ramondre. You got to love it. Damian Harris is falling down the board. I'm putting him as a high-level risk because I do want to see him utilized a little bit more in a split, but right now they're trusting Dre a lot more, so Damian Harris, high-level risk. I'm going to sit him this week. Jacoby Myers, low-level risk, even though, you got a great secondary with Reed and Sauce Gardner. I'm going to give him low-level risk. I think that the potential for him PPR upside, I should say, is definitely there for Jacoby Myers, and McMoney Jones should be able to feed him on the regular, at least to get you over 10 points. Devontae Parker dealing with that injury, coming off the injury, mid-level risk. They need a support cast here for a McMoney Jones. Maybe Devontae does do it here this week, but I mean, Nelson Aguilar, Hunter Henry, you cannot trust it. High-level plays, high-level risk plays, and I'm not trusting that they're going to be on the bench or the waiver wire. New Orleans Saints taking on the LA Rams. Andy Dalton, I'm shocked. I'm shocked they gave him the start. They said he's playing again. What's with the trust in the Red Rifle? I mean, let Jameis play. They're saying he's really hurt, though. Is it true? I don't know. Obviously, it is because Jameis is the better quarterback at this point. You want to believe better arm talent, and he would be able to support this offense, but they're continuing down the path of the Red Rifle. 102 points. He's very much, eager to throw interceptions, is Andy Dalton. So, I mean, watch out for that because Jalen Ramsey's going to be on the hunt. But Alvin Kamara does get a low-level risk. So does Chris Olave. CO2, my guy. He's going to play, very well again. I mean, he's the number one target on this offense. Now, Jarvis Landry sprinkled in with some PPR upside. Only if you're in full PPR leagues would I even attempt playing a Jarvis Landry, as is Taysom Hill, very much a boomer bust. Shaheed is high-level risk, nothing but high deep shots. So, I mean, it is basically Kamara Olave. You're basically trusting. I would not start anybody else from this offense versus the Rams. Even though they're struggling, that defense is still very good with an Aaron Donald, man. The New York Giants taking on those Detroit Lions. And Brian Daboll, man, he's got y'all playing some football. You got to love it. It is, like I said, predicated upon Saquon Barkley running the ball extremely well, playing good defense, and Daniel Jones just not turning that damn ball over. Daboll, maybe he was the, quarterback whisperer that, we took for granted in Buffalo, where Josh Allen didn't throw interceptions. Now Josh is throwing them. Daniel Jones threw interceptions. Now he's not throwing them. So you kind of got to put two and two together and come to the conclusion that maybe Daboll is the guy that understands what to tell his quarterback to not throw the interceptions. But you know what's funny? I'm giving Daniel Jones his first stud start of the week. I think we finally graduated back to Danny Dimes. No more Danny Pennies. I'm giving it to you, Danny, so don't let me down. Stud start for the New York Giants. I will do it for Daniel Jones. If you got him off the waiver wire, fire him up with high confidence because I do believe he's going to repay you extremely with a great stat line, as is Saquon Barkley. 9 games, 9 booms. He's just unstoppable. I was one of the biggest advocates to draft a Saquon Barkley. I said he was a top 3 commodity in this league when fully healthy. I got him in plenty leagues. I will hope you all listen. I mean, I'm on a new channel now. I was on an old channel before when I preached this, but Saquon is still, nevertheless, my evaluation was on par. I'm going to pat myself on the back and do a small victory lap on that one. Darius Slayton, low-level risk play. He seems to have stepped into the role as the number one guy once again as Wandale tries to figure his stuff out. Wandale gets a mid-level. Darius is the low-level. I'm going to play Darius over Wandale at this point. Want to see a little bit more refinement out of Wandale's game. Kenny Golladay, I mean, just put him on the bench already, Daboll. Like, just get him off the field. I can't have it. High-level risk, you're not touching it, as is Chris Myrick. You're not playing it. I thought they would have utilized the tight end just a little bit more over the past several weeks. They have not. I don't like it, so you're benching that tight end as well. The New York Jets taking on the Patriots. And I mean, Zach Wilson, the Cougar Killer. What do you say about Zach? He's got to figure it out. I mean, he's only 76 points, still high-level risk. Yes, they're coming off the bye. I do like that as well. Give him a little bit more practice time. Hopefully it's going to mature. Hopefully over these last 6 games. This is kind of the staple you want to say. Last 5 to 6 games of the season, you want to see young guys taking that next step in their progression. We're seeing it from Justin Fields. It's time to start seeing it from Zach Wilson for me to get, comfortable in saying that he's going to be a very good quarterback. Because right now I can't say it. I think right now it's very much a, puke in your mouth syndrome. It does not look good. High-level risk. He's going to get his opportunities. He's going to make his plays, but I'm not trusting playing him. Michael Carter, James Robinson, both get a mid-level risk for me. The MO is going to be, again, still run the ball, run the damn ball in New York. Because I think that's the MO. That's what you got to do. You got to make Zach comfortable. But at some point, the coaching staff has got to have some trust in Zach Wilson. Let him, figure it out. If he chucks a couple picks, in tight windows where he's trying to fit the ball, let the growing pains sort themselves out through that progression. I hope to see it. I hope because it just seems that the coaching staff doesn't have enough confidence in Zach Wilson to throw the ball. Garrett Wilson, mid-level risk, because the New England Patriots defense has been playing actually extremely well this season. They're underdog, definitely, but they're playing playing very, very well. Elijah Moore, Braxton Berrios, high-level risk. I mean, poor Elijah, man. He said, what's your chemistry with Zach Wilson? He's like, I don't know. I don't get the ball. He still doesn't get the ball. Poor guy, man. He's got talent for days, and, I mean, he's just not, targeted. But, I mean, Ty Conklin does get a low-level risk play, only best low-level risk of the week for these Jets because, I mean, outside of the defensive back core, there are opportunities for the tight end to get into open space on that New England Patriots secondary. Then Philadelphia Eagles at 8-1, taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Jalen Hurts licking their chops from that Monday night debacle. They just, there was opportunity. This game was not on Jalen Hurts. He was throwing dimes all over the field. It was turnovers, man. Goddard got his helmet snagged by the face mask, fumbled the ball, injured his shoulder. You got Quez Watkins catches a beautiful pass from Jalen Hurts, and then he fumbles the ball as he's running. You had the pass to A.J. Brown right in the breadbasket, and somehow, popped off of A.J. Brown's hands right into the defensive back's hands. Like, this was not Jalen Hurts' fault. There was just a lot of, wizardry, that was, if that's a word. Some wizard came in and jinxed him, and then, whatever. Maybe it was the Dolphins' undefeated team that jinxed him, but that game was definitely not on Jalen Hurts, in my opinion. He did more than enough to get them the win. All the supportive pieces kind of failed him in that contest. Still giving Jalen Hurts a stud start. 9 boom games in 9 games for this man. He's just like Josh Allen, man. He hasn't missed a beat, hasn't missed one game, has hit every single week. Definite stud start for me. Miles Sanders, the utilization was a little bit light for me this past week on Monday night. I thought they would have ran the ball a lot more. But again, the Washington Commanders did take that clock away as well. Time of possession was definitely skewed on one end. So, I mean, low-level risk for Miles. I think he's going to have a good day against the Indianapolis Colts defense that is decent enough. They're competing, and they have a good front seven. But I do believe Miles could be utilized in that pass game just a tad more because we do got Dallas Goedert gone for the 4 weeks at least with that shoulder on the IR. So it's A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, they're going to be the beneficiaries, number one of the target share, especially Smith. I think him and A.J. Brown are definite low-level risks. Both were on the injury report this week, did not finish it on Friday, so you can trust both these men. Fire both up, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith this week. Quez Watkins, high-level risk. He's boomer bust, down the field, deep shot appeal. But one guy I'm going to be watching in this game, is Jack Stoll. This guy I do want to see, and I got him listed as a usage question mark because we don't know. And the thing is, the caveat I'm going to put it here is that this offense is definitely utilizing the tight end position a lot. It is a big part of their game, big part of their offense. They run the ball a ton, and they need that blocking tight end that can catch, especially on play action and especially in the red zone. So I will see. Jack Stoll is fast, man. I believe he's like a 245, 250, and he runs a 4.6. He is not a slow man. So I'm definitely watching out for Jack Stoll. Turn my head, make me see what you can do on this field, sir, because I do believe he's got some skills. We've seen it in sprinkles. Not enough to trust, but I do want to see it. So usage question mark. This is just a game you're going to watch and say, is Jack Stoll something that we could use in fantasy football? Pittsburgh Steelers next up against those Cincinnati Bengals. Small hands Pickett. He's starting to make some noise. This is what I'm saying, man. Last couple games of the season, last 6 games, you want to see this progression improve and heighten for these young quarterbacks, and Kenny Pickett's starting to look decent, man. Not great, but he's starting to look decent. He's finding ways to move this offense, get the ball to his wide receivers and his playmakers. I got him a mid-level risk to these Bengals at home in Pittsburgh. I think it's a good play. I think that Kenny Pickett's going to be able to do at least enough to get you over that threshold. He boomed last week. I do believe he's going to be able to boom this week as well. And the fact, if Cincinnati does get their stuff figured out on the road, they're going to be throwing a lot to come from behind, so Kenny Pickett could be a sneaky play in fantasy football this week. Najee Harris continues that low floor. I am keeping Najee on my bench unless I got bye week trouble. I cannot do it. I am not doing it. Najee is not good right now. Yeah, he got 90 yards or whatever, if I'm not mistaken, but it's not good, man. It's 20 carries for 50 yards. It's not good, and it's not good for your fantasy team. He's probably one of the problems on why your winning record is not very good. Jalen Warren looks high risk. He's high risk. I mean, there's nothing I can say. Deontay Johnson, this is kind of where this one hurts a little bit. 71 points, but we knew the quarterback position was going to be, a crapshoot with, Trubisky and Pickett. So Deontay does get the mid-level risk, PPR upside, where George Pickens does earn the low-level risk for me. They're starting to use him on jet sweeps and stuff. So, I mean, he's the one on the goal line scoring touches, rushing touchdowns. So they're actively trying to get Pickens more involved so that he gets a low level for me, where Deontay gets a mid-level risk. Easier to trust Pickens right now. Pat Freiermuth, mid-level risk, but I think you can trust him again this week. He's very good, man. He's got 4 booms, 64 points. It's not a terrible tight end, but you want to see more target share come his way before he gets TD dependent in that way, man. San Francisco taking on those Arizona Cardinals on Monday Night Football in the desert. Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't apparently have to throw touchdowns to win because he's like 10-2 without throwing a touchdown. If that stat doesn't blow your mind, my head almost fell off when I heard that. But, I mean, he's a mid-level risk. He's going to do enough because he's got Christian McCaffrey now. He's got Eli Mitchell. So, apparently, Eli doesn't, Kerry comes off the IR instantly, has one game that was extremely solid, and he says, we're the best tandem in the NFL at running back. I mean, it's hard to argue, but I'm just saying, let the stink of the IR just come off just a little bit, Eli. Take it easy, man. Your better days will come, no worries. But I mean, here we go. We got Eli Mitchell. I mean, we got Deebo Samuel. We got Deebo Samuel. I'm going to say for all these guys. For Christian McCaffrey, stud start. For Eli Mitchell, low risk. For Deebo, low risk. I am very comfortable playing all of these individuals right now in this offense that, Kyle Shanahan is actively and appropriately utilizing all of them. Okay, and I think Deebo's going to get back a little bit. I think last week was a little bit of a, just get on the field, get your legs back. Well, use you kind of as a decoy as he was dealing with that hamstring, only 1 week off. So I think that was kind of the decoy effect for him in that week, but Deebo should be safe again this week. Brandon Ayuk, mid-level risk. He's going to flirt you 8 to 12 points per week, so he's a good flex play if you need him. I'm a big fan of Brandon Ayuk. If he scored that touchdown last week where he tried to reach out, it would have been a boom game for him and everyone would have been smiling. George Kittle, on the other hand, low-level risk. He's saying, I don't care if I'm getting the targets. I just want to win. But against these Arizona Cardinals, man, that can't stop tight ends, you're definitely firing up George Kittle because, it's very, very good. And hopefully, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to throw him the ball and not steal the ladies like he did at the basketball game. If you saw that one, man, go check that one out on social media. But, the Washington Commanders to finish this thing off with Tyler Heineke. He's looking good. What can you say? You can trust it right now. 59.6 points for a Tyler Heineke. And 2 boom games. He leads this team to beat the Philadelphia Eagles in good fashion. You can't hate it. He's a gunslinger, man. Like I told y'all, he's got rushing upside as well. It's not going to be, 20-plus points per week for a Heineke, but he's going to give you a decent floor. If all the QBs are picked clean for all the streaming guys, Heineke is one that I would definitely consider playing this week against the Houston Texans' porous defense, so you're going to like that a lot as well. Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, I think you're pretty safe. I got low-level risk on a Gibson, mid-level risk for Robinson because he is a little bit more TD dependent, but I think you're good to start both these men because Houston cannot stop the run, and Washington is going to run down their throats all game long, and they're going to try to control clock as well. Take the deep shots to a Terry McLaurin, who is a low-level risk play, so you're firing up Antonio, you're firing up B-Rob, you're firing up Terry, scary Terry McLaurin. Curtis Samuel as well, mid-level risk. I can't hate it. I can say you can actively start him as well. John Dotson gets a mid-level risk also, but I think it's going to be more deep shot appeal. Can Heineke support all these pieces? No. That's the problem. So what are you going to do? Who are you going to trust? If we're talking full trust, it's Gibson, it's McLaurin. If you're talking potential trust, you're talking B-Rob, Samuel, and then, on the boom or bust scale, you're talking Jahan Dotson. So, there is going to be ability here because they're playing a weaker opponent in Houston, so it's in the dome. We'll see. I do like it a lot. I think this Commanders offense will be humming along decently versus the Houston Texans. But there you have it, man. That is week number 11. So there it is. That is week number 11 fantasy football lineup advice. Hope to get you guys the victories. It is a long season. It's never over. Still 4 weeks left. So if you're on the bubble, do not give up. There is possibilities that you can sneak in and then, luck could turn your side and you win the whole thing. Never give up. I'm telling y'all. I still got a league where I'm 10-0 for God's sakes. Life is good right now. So keep following me. I'll get you the wins. I'm telling y'all. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, throw those start-sit questions in there like I said, and I'll get back to you, but we'll see you next time. I am out.